It's Saturday morning. It's 9 o'clock. Woohoo! Yes, it's time for the Monster Magic Saturday show. Let's do this.
Wake up, it's a beautiful morning. Feel the sun shining for your eyes.
Woohoo! Good morning, everybody. I do hope you are well. I can't believe it's coming up. We're halfway through September already. It's been a very, very fast year. But let's not waste any more time. Let's get on with some Monster Magic reviews. And first up, we have Omni Break by Victor Zatko. I've never heard of Victor Zatko before, but this is his take on a twist, I suppose, of the Omni deck, which was invented by Jerry Andrus and is commonly used as the climax for an ambitious card routine. What happens here is that you do your ambitious card routine. The card comes to the top of the signed selection as many times as you like. Eventually, you put the deck of cards between your participants' hands. You still find their selection, but when they open their hands, the deck just falls apart in a bunch of puzzle-like pieces. The Omni deck, which is a clear, transparent acrylic deck, like I say, is invented by Jerry Andrus, is one of the most common ways of ending that ambitious card routine. And believe me, they do need to end. You just can't keep doing it ad infinitum. This is a twist on it, and it is something a little bit different. The pieces falling apart is a really, really nice touch. Let me show you exactly what it looks like. So here's the close-up of the actual gimmick. It does all hold together quite nicely. There is a sort of a locking system, he calls it, which is probably a fancy name for it, to be honest. It's got the ridges of the cards on it. When you remove the locking system, it will all just fall apart into these pieces, which are quite easy to put together, but it also kind of leaves them with a bit of a puzzle to put together in their hand. I would be doing this over a table. I wouldn't want these to fall on the floor too much. Not just they'll get chipped. They're not, molded or anything like that. So they will get damaged if you're not too careful with them. And you want to keep them nice and clean. I'm guessing you could just wipe these down actually and clean them up afterwards. The tutorial that comes with it is 40 minutes long, and it doesn't really cover much in the way of routines other than the ambitious card. There is a bit at the end where you suggest you can do a sort of a breaking wand routine, where wand, you give someone a wand and it falls apart. You could do this with the deck. You give someone the deck and it falls apart in their hands if you want to use it as a gag. But it is basically your finale to the ambitious card. He doesn't teach any phases of the ambitious card. There are plenty of resources for that, but most of the tutorial is him teaching the various ways of switching the gimmick in from the real deck. All pretty much run-of-the-mill stuff, but you can do it with a jacket or without a jacket. He's wearing some deliberately tight jeans to make his life hard. It's not as easy as doing it with the Omni deck because you've got these moving pieces, and the locking system, you can unlock it accidentally when pulling it out of your pocket. So you've got to be careful. It's a lot more fiddly, I found, than the Omni deck, which is simply just because it is a solid piece of acrylic. Is much easier to ring in. I'm not sure it's even any stronger than the Omni deck. You might know if you go to Prop Dog, you can get the Omni deck engraved. So if you're doing a wedding, you can have people's names and the date of the wedding put on it. It's great for people's birthdays. You can also have it engraved with a card as well. And presentation wise, with the Omni deck, you can sort of say you're going to make the cards disappear. With this, there's not really much justification as to why you've made the deck into a 3D printed puzzle. In fact, it's a little bit of a shame he hasn't made it into one of those puzzles, I don't know what they're called, where you've got the piece left over. That might have added a little bit more to it. It's very unlikely that it will fall apart in performance when putting it in someone's hands. You can literally drop it, and that's really quite smart. It is just the removal from your pocket where it can get a little bit caught up. It is a really nice idea to sort of switch up the Omni deck, and it's designed really well. It's made adequately, I would say. It's just, it does add a bit of drama to the end of your ambitious card too. It does everything it's meant to do. The problem is, for me, it was just a little bit too fiddly, and then at the end you've got all these pieces that you've got to scoop up, and you're just going to put them in your pocket. You're not going to solve the puzzle there and then. So reset wise, it's probably too much hassle if you're a working magician. I'm afraid for me, the best ending to the ambitious card is still the Omni deck or a card to impossible location. But that is Omni Break by Victor Zatko, $49.99. Next up, we have the Hopping Halves by TCC. TCC have really surprised me with this. The coins, you're not surprising. They are very good. Let me show you the coins. Well, let me tell you the routine. So the routine is the classic hopping halves. Essentially, you show that you've got a copper and a silver coin. You remove the silver coin, you click your fingers and it returns back into your hand. You remove the copper coin and that then returns back to your hand. You put the silver coin in your pocket and then that returns. You then take away the copper coin, put it in your pocket, and you are left with no coins whatsoever. The hopping halves, that is the basic hopping halves routine. It is terrific, and it's nice because you end with nothing in your hands. They can't inspect anything, they can't grab anything, and they have seen visually these coins just reappear back in your hand. Don't underestimate it as a routine. Let me show you the coins, because the coins are lovely. Here we go. They come in this sweet dinky little purse, which is a nice little added extra. And these are the coins. So these are essentially, my friend Michelle with some coins inside. You do get a funny noise when you tap them, but there's no way around that, I don't think, because of the construction. The coverage is really good. And what I particularly like is that this English penny is an old English penny. It's not that bright, shiny, hasn't been highly polished. It looks like you've just found an old English penny, and it doesn't look like a gimmick at all because of that. And that's a really nice touch. I think the Tango ones are far too shiny, and you won't go end up polishing all of your coins in order to try and make them look the same. But this one, I think pretty much, if you wanted to have a duplicate, if you had an idea for a routine that required an English penny, anyone would be fine. And it's a beautiful set. It really is a beautiful set. But what is also amazing is it's very cheap, actually, for the quality that you get. But what is also amazing is the tutorial is almost an hour long, and it covers everything you can do with this set of coins, not just the standard hopping halves, and it's really well taught. It does start with that routine, and it gives various different presentation ideas. Sometimes it can feel like you're challenging the audience members of how many coins have I got left, and generally speaking they're going to be wrong, and we as magicians don't like that. So they run through a couple of ideas, such as a time travel routine of popping back in time, or even if you just tell a story of how someone showed you this trick and you got it wrong. It feels a lot friendlier like that. And they also do a little bit with a quiver wallet, or you could possibly use my flap wallet if you wanted to have the coins reappear at the end back in the purse that you got them from. They then go on to a really nice hanging coins routine, which is a little more involved, but the gimmick does do a large part of the work for you, but you will need to do a little bit of finger palming or the odd downs palm, but it's really nice, really well taught, lots of angles from behind the hands. You then get the classic sun and moon routine, which is really beautiful, can play really nicely if you're in a sort of small parlor area. It's a beautiful routine of the copper and silver coins transposing and switching places from one hand to the other. You then get a couple of routines called CBH, which involve the coins transporting from one hand to the other, also some color changes, also some nice through the back of the hand routines as well. Really strong visual coin magic, where the coins do so much work for you. Again, you get a nice presentation followed by a really clear explanation. They also throw in a little 3-fly routine. You'll have to add a third indifferent coin to this of roughly the same size as a $half. And finally, you get a copper silver transposition. All absolutely excellent stuff. It's a real masterclass in how to use this coin set. Teaches you all of the sleights that you need, and that is just great. You can start off with the hopping halves, which is completely self-working, and then just work your way up as you get a little bit better holding the coins, and you learn a few more sleights, and you want to try out some new stuff. And it just means that you can just carry these two gimmicks around and perform various routines and really mix it up. That makes it just terrific value. I thought these coins were cheap as they were, combined with the tutorial. I'm sorry, they are just an absolute bargain. He also, at the end, teaches you how to sort of repair or some little bit of maintenance over how to look after Michelle, which they're not the most demanding of things to look after, to be honest. If you keep it on the gimmick, you'll be fine. But he teaches how to adjust them if you need to, which again is just a great added bonus. If you don't do any coin magic already and you want to get into it, I could highly recommend this set. You also, because of the gimmicks you get, you can do any of the classic coins across routines that you may or may not know. It is just really, really versatile, and the tutorial shows you so much and teaches you so much and really takes you on a journey from novice to slightly more advanced. Everything about this product just blew me away. It is the Hopping Halves by TCC, $49.99. Next up, it's Little Holes by Roddy McGhie and Noel Qualter of Trick Trick Boom. This came out at Blackpool earlier this year. It was a big hit there, a sellout, as they claim. Who knows how many they really had. And then it was at Magic Live as well. Finally, they've produced enough to actually release it onto the market so we can all buy it. A few people have already got their hands on it, obviously. The effect is that you show your deck of cards and you get your Sharpie and you draw 4 dots on it in the corners. One by one, those dots move and coalesce down in the bottom left-hand corner. The third dot you hand to your participant and they throw it, and that then appears on the box. You finally show that they're not ink dots at all. They are, in fact, holes in the box. As I said last week with Incredible, the idea of moving ink has been around for a long time. The idea of moving holes has been around for a long time. And if you are interested in it, you can go back. I think probably one of my favourites still is Michael Close's pothole trick. This takes it to an almost different level, because you start off with the dots on the box. They then move and then they then become holes, which is an added kicker, and so that makes it even more impossible. And visually, I think this is one of the best versions. Before I rave too much about this, I must say I do know Roddy and Noel, and funnily enough, I accidentally bumped into Noel on Monday night at the Magic Circle. I happened to have my sofa in my back pocket, so I sat him down and we had a little bit of a chat about Little Holes.
Snugly, I've always dreamed of sitting on there.
Noel Qualter of Trick Trick Boom.
No, don't lean back too much of this. This has done a lot of miles. This sofa. I worry.
It is.
I'm not you. I'm twice the man you are.
I think this might be the first ever outside broadcast on the sofa from Monster Magic, and we're outside the prestigious Magic Circle, which is here.
It's true.
Society with some very massive alumni of members, including Noel.
There's also
And
Little Holes, it's called.
that is star of stage and screen.
I'd buy one in the highest step.
why isn't he back in? Where's he? Cheltenham, Chelmsford, somewhere out in the sticks, isn't he?
He was
He
yeah.
belongs back
They
in
have
there,
another
you know.
back catalogue of tricks. They've got a bunch of stuff. Obviously,
He steals the show, doesn't he? He's never ending. We can cut this bit out.
It's fine.
Right.
It's pure show business.
So little holes is the trick that you have just released.
It is.
Just when did you do it on?
No, it's fine. These
Who
things
are you? All right.
See you later, Steve. Yes, it is a Little Holes, which came into. It was born. Well, it's sort of born at Blackpool, where it had a little bit of a debut.
Debut, it's sold out.
Sold out.
Everyone was talking about
A
it.
few lucky sods got their hands on Little Holes, and then we also had it at Magic Live as well, and it flew off the shelves there, and people went bananas, absolutely potty for it.
So hang on. So Blackpool's in February.
Yeah.
What? Why didn't you sort of release it
Well,
back then?
that is a great question, and the answer to that is that these things are beautifully made by the man with $1 million hands, Roddy, and each one of them, like artisan sort of card gimmick, it takes a bloody age to make each one. So
Roddy hand makes every one.
yeah, he hand makes every single one.
Right, okay.
And they take it's hard to know when you look at each process, about 15 minutes and 15 to 20 minutes each one, which you go, 15, 20 minutes is not too bad. You go, try and doing that at scale is just massive. And it's all very well thinking, that's, let's say 3 an hour or 4 an hour, but one can just crack on like dead face. So he is, he's looking forward to having a little break from from all the little fiddly stuff, the bits and pieces. He's been ferociously at it.
So does he get slightly annoyed every time you sell one then? Is he like,
It is that weird thing of going, well, I am pleased, but that is one less that we've got. And these, so normally how this works, a little peek behind the curtain, folks, that people might have, I don't know, they make 1,000 of a trick, and then they might sell a whole bunch to wholesalers, and they try and punt the rest of them themselves. These, to get to any sort of scale, has taken us, since, well, Roddy started making them December last year to get ready for Blackpool. And then obviously the Magic Live stuff, then we completely sold out of Magic Live, which in inverted commas put us back because again, past the crazy rules of if you shift them then you've got less and you need to have more to sell them. So we've it has been a long hard struggle, and we knew, like, people went bananas when this thing started to make it onto the video reviews and the Blackpool stuff and all that sort of good stuff. It had little, and some people would feature it and some people just have it a little cutaway, but it was in every single one of the videos, and they were just bombarded about messages. What's this? Where can I get it? Who is it? Now, I know that's true of all tricks in Blackpool, but this was insane. And once people figured out that it was Trick Trick Boom Trick, and they knew where to get hold of us, tricktrickboom.com, we got an onslaught of emails. I mean, obviously Roddy had it hard, but think of me, you had to reply to emails. Where's the sympathy for that? I had and messages and comments and Magic Cafe and Facebook and all that good stuff, which is brilliant. And feel free to carry on. And obviously we're in the business of stirring you guys up and taking interest in it. But yeah, it was phenomenal. Like, it was, I've never seen anything like it. People just desperate for it, because I think it is a rare trick that has, where it's got all the visuals, it's going to fool the hell out of magicians as well. And now I know that doesn't matter if a trick fools a magician or not, it just matters whether the audience loves it. But we'll get a little bit of a kick out of showing something to the boys or girls.
Well, I think it helps with sales if they don't know how it's done, doesn't it? That's the thing. The thing. Oh, well, that's baffled me.
Yeah,
if it baffles me, it'll baffle everybody else.
Yeah, 100%. That's what I think is a large part of it, is thinking, I'm so fooled that I'm a magician. And that's what this is, just so much. It's fun to practice it. It's a ton of fun to perform it. But when you have a little bit of a go with it, like a little bit of quiet time, Friday night, you get the idea, and do a little bit of a sliding of holes around here, and then when you do the trick for yourself the first time, you're like, I'm not entirely sure how this works. I mean, I do know, but it's just a really clever magic trick.
Let's take you back to the creative process behind it. So Roddy had the original idea, and then do you just sort of finesse it together?
Yeah, so I'll be honest. So everything we do is sort of collaborative. This is much more Roddy's baby, and has been. He's been doing this on and off for years. So this is just my input in this is much less than it has been in other routines. But it is, we're still going to go back and forth on ideas and presentations and things, and how to build stuff and box artwork and all that good stuff. But I
must say, that bit on the box. There's a lovely bit on the box. of Noel and Roddy.
Yeah, lovely little, lovely photograph.
So now moving holes, that's quite a common. Back
Yeah.
in the old Michael Close with his
Yeah,
pothole trick, everything else.
great history, and there's a ton of moving hole tricks. There seems to be like one of the common plots that people love doing. Certainly, if you're a gimmicky guy, you go, "Joe, I'm mad about the moving hole tricks," because we all love card tricks. Exactly, the card that you chose, lots of good stuff, and there's a million ways to reveal a fun card trick. I tell you what's more fun, or certainly that I get a kick out of, is those weird things where the cards are just rectangles. They're just pieces of cardboard that amazing things happen to. And this is such a weird trick. If someone sees this, if you show this to one of your, what they call spectators, audience, if you show it to somebody and ink is manipulated, like, what the hell happened? You go, and then at the end, it's got that great story, a bit like Omni deck, a bit like all those killer tricks, or mini pull, one of those things where, so what happened at the end? You go, so if someone described this and they weren't entirely sure, they'd say, the guy made some little doodles on the box, made some little circles on there, and they moved them around at different corners. And at the end, they weren't. They were holes. They might get confused by the whole thing, but they'd say they were holes. And that's that mad thing of thinking, like, it's such an easy thing to be able to tell because it's such a mad plot. Like, there's nothing else. There's plenty of moving hole tricks. There's nothing with this like this.
Yeah, so I think what's interesting is it starts off as being moving ink, essentially, doesn't it? Which is
a good trick.
Which is a very good trick, baffling enough as it is. Everyone going, well, I don't understand how that ink's moving around. And then they discover that actually it is now holes, which is even more permanent than permanent ink in theory. So it's a real kicker. It's a real
exactly.
kicker. They can get through there. Can they get through there? Where are you going? Go on, you can do it. I haven't moved the camera.
I need to turn it round.
Oh, go on then.
As usual, you haven't got any clothes on.
The nice thing about it, so because it's the box that does, the box is the trick. You can use the cards. You've just carrying it around anyway.
Well, also the box is ungimmicked, and the cards there is a gimmick there's a gimmick within the cards that is helping you with the trick, but at the end, you've got to do a totally motivated cleanup that's squeaky clean. And at that point, you can give them everything. The box, the cards, you can go into your next routine. These are just, 52 cards, just a regular deck of cards.
So every move is motivated. Everything's been fully routined. Roddy's been performing it for a long time.
Yep.
How difficult is it, though? Because Roddy's good. You're good.
Right, let's focus on Roddy. So it's super easy. So the gimmick. So what you need to do is I want to be as open with you guys as possible. You need to get used to holding objects and getting used to the way they act. So if you had, for example, a coin unique, right, that is a fairly automatic trick.
Yep.
This will take more than this, but there's no sleight of hand in it. You just need to get familiarity with the objects. You go, oh yeah, when I do this, I might need to give slightly less pressure, or it's familiarity, because you've got no memory of manipulating these things in this way, because there are tricks with ink and writing stuff on the outside of the box, but you won't have any memory of how to do this trick because it's unlike anything you've done before. So it'll take you, I don't know,
so you're playing with it,
a fun evening to play with it.
That throwing on the dot.
Yeah.
That sounds very much like your highlight of.
I think
you love that bit.
I do. So this trick produces. So it's got the crazy visuals. You're moving ink around. You're manipulating it, which is great. And in itself, most tricks would just stop there. There's this phase that happens just before the finish where they throw on the ink, and that's your SpongeBob's moment. That is the screamer. That is the what on earth happened there.
You've got mini book.
Yep.
Little doors. Little holes.
I've got. Yeah.
Are you doing anything full size at all ever?
We are, John, I'll give you a little sneak preview at some point in the, I don't know if it's going to be before Christmas or it'll be after. We have got something else that is we've been raiding the dollhouse again. So we're gonna go small again. But then another little, at some point in the future, we're going big, and not just big, we're going pretty big.
Oh.
I mean, that's barely a scoop, isn't it? Who on earth's going to be able to decode that? I'm not sure Roddy will even understand what on earth I'm talking about, but. So we've got small, and we've got another thing that's coming that's a little wee little thing, but insanely cute.
Thank you very much. No quota.
Thank you very much.
Right, then we better
Christ, yeah.
Thanks to it all being done on the cellophane and the card box, the gimmick is much less exposed. There's not as much workings going on as with most moving holes, moving inks, and it's really, really simple, really easy to do. I think the big worry people are going to have is lighting conditions and angles. Angle-wise, it doesn't matter if someone's behind you. They won't see how it's being done, but they won't really enjoy the effect very much because they won't be able to see how it's being done. And really, ideally, this is probably a walk around trick. You could do it for a table. If you watch the trailer, Roddy's doing it at the Magic Castle in the parlour room. Gets some great reactions. Starts with a really nice joke of moving the cellophane to move the holes before moving in to the trick. Lighting wise, it is pretty good. Here's the deck. I'll try and move it around a little bit. So you've got some angles there. That's the gimmick as it will end up. I think the worst case scenario is that once all of the dots have coalesced, someone might recognise that they're holes before you've mentioned it, but by that time it's fine. The trick's over and there really is nothing else for them to see at that point. You can then you should remove the black card to emphasise that they're holes. You remove all of the cards and they can examine the box. And it's the box that everyone's interested in. You remove the cards. You can then use the cards later on to perform any trick that you like. There is a gimmick that you need to go south with, but there is plenty of time and misdirection as they're all examining the box. And believe me, they will want to grab the box. There is nothing to see, nothing to find. They can, in the great words of most magicians, examine it very, very thoroughly. It has just got 4 holes in it. They can also examine the black card if you want, which is another object of interest. The cards have no interest to them at all, mainly because they feel like they've been sealed in the box. They couldn't really have had anything to do with it. And by and large, they don't, because you can use them for your next trick. The tutorial's 45 minutes long and it starts with the setup. There's a bit of trial and error with the setup, mainly about how many cards you need in the box to have the gimmick working really, really smoothly. Once you've got it set up correctly, it is really easy to do. It does take a little bit of practice to get it nice and smooth. And there's really nothing to see. Everything is motivated, everything is really well thought out, and Roddy has indeed been playing with this for a very long time, so he gets to instill some nice little tips as well. The gimmick itself isn't really going to suffer from any wear and tear, so you don't have to worry about that. You might need to replace the cellophane, and Roddy teaches you how to do that with a plain sheet of cellophane, so you can choose a slightly thicker, more durable cellophane if you want than the one that comes with a traditional card box. You will need an iron for that, and I know, being a magician, that might be hard to come by, so if you don't want that one, you can do it just with the cellophane from another card box, and they'll teach you a very nice, quick and easy way of getting new cellophane onto the box. The reset is about, well, I don't know, 10 seconds probably. It can't be done in front of anyone, which is possibly the only drawback. If you're doing this walk around, you're gonna have to find a little corner just to stick everything back together. I think it's a great little trick to do when you're just introducing a deck of cards before you go into your mammoth card set. It's nice, it's quirky, it'll catch people by surprise for sure. You do get the pen as well, by the way. It is currently only available from tricktrickboom.com and it is $39.99. That is Little Holes. Next up, it's Portraits by Olivier Zaragosa. This is basically yet another deck with celebrity faces on it, and it's an ordinary deck of cards essentially, but it's printed slightly differently. So you've got if that's a prediction card there, so you have a nice little prediction that you can use. You've got Spider-Man card, that one's slightly gimmicked, but you've got these portraits of famous celebrities. It's Angela Merkel, Charlie Theron. You can see. Let me let me just run through a few. I can't see who these people are, but you'll get the idea. So that's the sort of artwork that it is. But what is different about this is that half of them have black backs and half of them have red backs, and that makes them slightly more versatile than your traditional celebrity deck. There are some that have got a few markings on as well, which help with a couple of tricks too. And I'm guessing here the idea is to come up with a deck of cards that has slightly more appeal or opens up different presentational ideas than a regular deck of cards with faces. So the red and the black backs, that helps you with a version of Out of This World. They teach two versions of Out of This World. One is the Paul Curry's classic version, and one is the one with the discards in the middle. I forget who to attribute that one to. Now, Out of This World is definitely one of the best magic tricks ever created, certainly the best self-working magic tricks ever created. With this, the only real problem is that people don't know that they're trying to separate the decks into red and black cards, and that's a bit of a shame, because for me it's when they're dealing down and they're thinking this is impossible, I've got no idea whether this is a red card or a black card. So you kind of lose a little bit, I think, of what makes Paul Curry's Out of This World so strong. What is also nice though is that there is a sort of subtle marking on here, or a subtle code, should I say, that lets you know whether the card is a red-backed card or a black-backed card. So you can actually just do it from a spread and ask them. There are presentational twists you can do with it. Obviously, it's whether or not you'd invite them round for dinner, or you wouldn't invite them round for dinner. Various things like that. So they do take advantage of the fact that these are celebrities to make the trick something a little bit different. You then have a version of Simon Aronson's shuffleboard, which, I mean, that's also a really, really good self-working trick. If you don't know it, then it is a trick where the cards are sort of mixed up and face down. You've got a little prediction. When you read your prediction, it names the number of cards that will be face up. It will say whether or not they're of the same suit. It will say their values, and it all matches perfectly. With this, because they're celebrities, you can have a lot more fun with that prediction. So they start off saying there'll be 13 cards face up. They'll all be women, and they'll all be singers. And one of them won't be a singer, but then you say, oh, the prediction, you turn it over one last time, and it says Hillary Clinton likes singing in the shower, for example. Great fun, great little kicker. It was probably my favourite trick on this tutorial. You then have a trick called quadruplex, which is where you deal the cards out into a grid of 12 and you fold them up on top of each other or across, whichever your participant chooses, and then the cards face up match your prediction. They attribute the folding method to Nick Tross. Actually, it goes all the way back to Henry Dudney in 1926, and then it was popularised by Bob Hummer and Martin Gardner throughout the 70s and so on, before it's been used by obviously Nick Tross and John Bannon and so on. It is a great little method and really, really versatile, and actually you can do it with any flat objects. And the rest of the tricks on the tutorial are pretty much takes on your standard self-workers, or ones that just require a very easy force, such as the cross-cut force, to come up with a prediction. There's a nice movie poster prediction of crazy casting, so you can have a film poster where instead of Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet in Titanic, you've got Tom Cruise and Jennifer Lawrence, for example. You make up whatever you like. This card is quite a bit of fun too, so you can end up saying that the Queen and Albert Einstein got together one night and they produced Harry Potter. A couple of the cards are also your standard gimmick cards, which might help you if you've got any other ideas for tricks. Otherwise, the deck's really well thought out. So it's 26 red, 26 black backed, 13 men and 13 women in each one, and they're a good mix of people. I'm not that keen on the artwork, to be honest. It's not my cup of tea, and also I don't know, the backs are just a bit plain. I wish there was something on the backs that indicated that these might be a souvenir deck of some sort, or even a game or anything like that. It is a fun deck, and it is really, really versatile. But the only thing that makes it special is the red and black backed. So unless you want to do the out of this world, you may as well just pick up a deck of celebrity top trumps and do your favourite self-working card trick, or even an ambitious card. There's just nothing that makes this really stand out as a particularly sort of special or unique. It's got no real attributes that you can't get from something you could literally just buy in a souvenir shop or in the gift shop of an art gallery. That is Portraits by Olivier Zaragosa, 33.99.
He shouldn't have jumped. The show's not that bad.
And that's it for this week's show, I'm afraid. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you don't already, then please do subscribe, just so you get a little reminder, so you don't miss next week's show, because that really would be a shame. Until then, come on, people. Grab some magic, go out there and have some fun with the best hobby in the world. Bye-bye.